Cannabis Common Sense, the show that tells the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition.
Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of Cannabis Common Sense. Our show is a production of our nonprofit organization, THCF, or the Hemp and Cannabis Foundation, and our affiliated political committee, the Campaign for the Restoration and Regulation of Hemp, or CRRH. We're working to end adult marijuana prohibition, restore industrial hemp, and help medical marijuana patients. We've got a great show for you tonight. In addition to several film clips, Mr. Tim Pate is here, as he almost always is these days. Hi, Tim.
Hello, folks. How are you tonight, Paul?
Very well. Thanks for coming in. I know a lot of our crew are over at the benefit for Jack Herer that's taking off right now. And if you're here in the Portland area, you know, after the show's over, rush right over to 700 Northeast Decombe Street to the Village Ballroom, about 3 blocks east of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And there is a benefit for Jack Herer. Band is playing there called Pass Margot, and the show will be closed by none other than our favorite, Mr. Tim Pate here.
Yes, indeed.
So without further ado, let's bring on our infamous dancing cannabis leaves.
I feel the force.
All right, without further ado, Mr. Tim Pate. All right, Mr. Tim Pate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, if you're watching tonight, it is the 4th That's it. The 4th of December, 2009. And we'll be taking your phone calls right up to the top of the hour. You can call us at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And it is the 4th. Hey, welcome, Tim. Just walk right on in.
I will.
It works. That's fine. And so, as I was saying earlier, we have a benefit going on tonight with Mr. Jack Hare, for Mr. Jack Hare, actually, not with him, unfortunately, but it's for Jack, who had a heart attack at our Portland Hempstock Festival back on September 12th, and he's been in recovery ever since.
True.
He had a lack of oxygen over an extended period before the ambulance could arrive, and he's been recuperating and slowly regaining some of his abilities, but we have a benefit to aid his family and medical care, and it's over at the Village Ballroom. The Village Ballroom is located at 700 Northeast Deacon, and that is about 3 blocks east of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and it'll be going on at least till 1 or 2, don't you think? When are you going to be closing out? Do you know?
Well, you know what? That just depends on how many songs they make me play.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And how many
quite
people are
frankly,
there?
I don't know how many people are there. I haven't been over there yet.
either.
I mean, the room could be full. It could be empty. I don't know. Ours is empty, so they must all be over there.
They're over there. We know that.
This is a full room. You know that. So
I know.
I think they are all over there. I know John Cornett's going to be joining me, and because that's where he is right now. In fact, and I know there's a lot of folks over there. So we're just going to find out. I heard too that not only did the local Normal chapter donate some money, but a chapter from Waco, Texas, donated some money, and it was really kind of them. And who knows what else is going to happen, but
We'll see.
I'm really grateful that,
I know there was a benefit just a couple weeks ago in Eugene.
Yes, and I tried
know
to
that
find out,
several,
but I didn't hear
they
what
announced
happened.
this one at that one, and several of the people who were at that one said they were coming to this one.
Oh, very good.
So I know that some of our associates from around the state will be there.
Well, I know I talked to Mark yesterday or the day before, and he said he was, and a whole bunch of them were coming. His folks are coming, so we'll just enjoy whoever shows up, and we'll play music until they make us quit, I guess.
Makes sense to me. We have a caller. Hello, caller. You're on the show. Hello. Oh, we lost him.
Yep,
Hey, well, this is your big chance to get through. If you have a question or comment about ending adult marijuana prohibition, restoring industrial hemp into its rightful place in our economy and ecology, or helping medical marijuana patients, then give us a call at 503-288-4448. That's
For me, it's been just to go back to that subject. I play on this show.
Yeah.
And I have for many years now, as you know that.
Yeah. Thank you.
I don't. You're welcome. Thank you. You're welcome. Well, thanks for having me. I really do appreciate being here.
You're welcome.
And then I play Hemp Stock. I'll play Hemp Fest, but I don't come out and play very much. And for me to come out and just play my music in a set or to be in public like that, it's actually pretty rare these days. Only because I choose to bring myself.
You're eclectic in that you're glass.
And stone.
A pumpkin artist, a stone artist.
That's true.
I wouldn't say a stoned artist.
No, well, I would. It depends.
Sometimes maybe.
Yeah, well, it's the morning or the afternoon,
Yeah, I understand.
But you're right. I try to make my living in whichever way I can, just to put bread on the table. That's what it takes.
Yeah,
you got to do whatever.
Yeah, it's very difficult to make a living in arts, and so you're to be commended that you've been able.
Well, that's been 15 years as 7, maybe a little longer than that. I'm afraid to admit, but yeah, it's been over 15 years that I've been a professional artist. So it is a lonely day sometimes when you're all alone and you're working, but eventually it all goes out. We got a call.
Hello, caller. You're on our show.
Hi. Good evening. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
I had a question for you. How do you handle if you go with the Rick Simpson cure with the hemp oil? How is that handled out there as far as possession goes?
As far as what?
As possession.
Oh, possession.
I have not heard of anyone being charged specifically with the possession of just the oil. It'd be difficult to separate the oil and the active ingredients. I haven't heard of anyone who's been charged that's a medical patient for possession of that. So I can't answer accurately. I wish. Huh?
I was really curious about how it would be addressed because of the concentration level of
exactly. I have some. It's incredibly concentrated, and you're going to find that a medallion could go a long way because you can mix it with other ingredients and use it for the salve on skin cancer or in a feeding. So there are a lot of different ways to use it, and as far as dosages, they're still trying to figure those out, if I'm not mistaken. But it's a very heavy concentration, so it's not a heavy. There's not a lot of weight to a very heavy concentrated amount of medicine.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing is are you aware of the Codex Alimentaris that goes into effect December 31st of this year that could affect all herbs?
No.
Okay.
So this is a federal law, or what are you talking about? Codex.
Okay. Basically, what it amounted to was it was a sneaky thing that the World Trade Organization, the World Health Organization put together, and it goes way back to 1962, and it goes into effect at the end of this year for all nations of the world, which will basically take all herbs and vitamins and declare them toxic, and you'll have to have a prescription to get it from your doctor.
Really? Just to get vitamins?
Even vitamins, yes. It even covers
that sounds
vitamins.
kind of crazy. I'll have to look into that.
Absolutely
We're
insane.
going to have to look into that more.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've heard
I
of
was
it.
in shock when
Sounds
I
frightening.
found it, too. They're keeping it a well-kept secret, and I was in shock when I found out about it also. And it does appear as though that law back in 94 that was passed, which turned vitamins and herbs and whatnot to be declared as food rather than drugs, it's in direct violation of it even. That's the question that's being raised. But it appears as though the government is supporting it. And it's very scary. It really is at this point.
Well, we'll have to see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of people who depend on herbs and supplements for a lot of different things. So hopefully...
Yeah, and if we don't go along with it, they can actually blockade the United States. That's
Good
how
luck
strong
with
it
that.
is.
Good luck with that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I know how international treaties are, and they carry the same weight as the Constitution in court proceedings, but we'll have to see. But thanks for the heads up on it.
Really.
Yeah, as I understand it, Congress never voted on it. This was just jammed down our throats. I found no record of them ever voting on it.
Well, if they
No,
didn't vote on it, then it's not, in effect here in the United States. But we'll find out.
It shouldn't be, but it appears as though they may do it.
Bummer.
Well, we'll find out. I appreciate you giving us a heads up on it.
Yeah, we'll definitely have some cause and effect on that if it's true, and you're right. We're going to have to know a little bit more before we can even talk about it. Really.
Thanks for your call, though.
Scary. Any update on how Rick's doing?
Well, I know he's back in Canada,
Good.
and he had been in Europe when the authorities there in Nova Scotia raided his house. Yet I don't know for how many times, but I know he's back there and asserting his rights, and I haven't heard any detailed reports of. I know hasn't been incarcerated yet, anyway, and so hopefully he won't be.
There's not much information coming out. That's why I was wondering if you guys have heard anything.
No, I haven't. It seems like they took advantage of him being out of the country to swoop in and seize everything yet again, which is one of the things they often do.
Okay, guys. Thank you for what you do, and I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. So if you have a question or comment or call for us tonight, give us a call at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. We'll be taking your phone calls right up to the top of the hour.
You got some pretty drinkings here.
Yeah, we have some more things for show and tell. A few of them that we had a couple weeks ago and some of them that we didn't have. So we've added a few things, and we'll go through those a little bit. We'll keep them out there. There's some of it's worth talking about, at least. We've got some hemp foods here. This is a very popular cereal, and this hemp milk has made an incredible breakthrough in terms of being marketed around the country. We have these antique bottles up here, a lot of different things. This is a volcano. It is a vaporizer down at the other end. We'll talk about that, too. We have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Well, Paul, you know what? The Codex Alimentaris is, in fact, real, and it goes way back, I think, before the WTO. I think it was actually something created by the United Nations back in like the 60s or something like that.
Just after they did the Single Convention Treaty on all the other controlled substances.
Yeah, and it was designed as a very benevolent standard for drugs, pharmaceuticals, stuff like that. Then it became twisted and demented and became what it is now. The website that I found most useful for this, and I learned of this website watching public access TV, the website that I found most useful for information on the Codex Alimentarius is healthfreedomusa.org. And the person, the information on that website is very extensive, almost too much to take in one sitting, but it's all there as far as...
I'm sorry. I'm just a little distracted here. Well, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, healthfreedomusa.org.
Cool.
So to learn up on the Codex Alimentarius and what it will wind up doing, that first caller was absolutely right. It is extremely dangerous, and I personally had no idea it was that close to being finalized or ratified. But anyway, thank you for your show. Thanks again.
Thank you. Yeah, I was a little distracted by something going on behind camera there, so sorry about that. But yeah, I look forward to finding out more about that. I haven't heard.
This is the first I've heard. So yeah, you're right.
I'll
This bears
that a little
interesting
bit more.
witness there. Yeah, actually 2 calls confirming it in a row. You know, you're right. We should know more about this right away. It's I'm curious to find out what the ultimate effect is going to be on medicine. Because it affects things and creates the category that everything is a medicine. Is that the way you said it? So
I think so. Yeah. I think so. I'm going to have to find out too.
Maybe, so if this is my medicine, maybe it won't affect.
We'll investigate a little bit.
Yeah. We need to know more.
Yeah, definitely.
You put up a red flag. It's good to know.
Well, one of the things that we're working on here, and I'm happy to announce that. In the past week, we've turned in another 1,000 signatures to the Secretary of State's office. So we've turned in a total of about 1,800 signatures on our Oregon Cannabis Tax Act petition. We've actually filed 2 versions, the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act and the Oregon Cannabis Tolerance Act. And so once we get a ballot title back from the Secretary of State that's certified, then we can move forward and poll and see what our odds are on that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that later because we have another caller here.
Okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi. I was wondering, how do you find out the THC content of your marijuana?
Well,
like how pure it is.
There aren't many places that test that kind of thing. There's a company in the Bay Area that you can look up. It's steephill.org. That's STEEPHILL.org. And they analyze cannabis for a number of dispensaries in California. They'll also train people how to analyze their own cannabis. They're the only company that's actively doing that in the United States right now. And because of the federal laws, they're only accepting in-state California samples. So, but they are willing to train people in other states in how to do the analytic testing. But I can't give you the outlines of how to perform those tests technically at this time.
Isn't a spectrum magnetometer involved in that?
It could be. It could be a chromatography column as well that separates things by weight. That could be one of the ways it's done, and then you'd analyze the various components after it's been separated in a chromatography column. So
you could always put it in a steam exploder, but that's a little more.
So yeah, I wish I could tell you exactly, but there is a company out there you can go to, and that's Steep Hill Analytical in the Bay Area in California, and their website's steephill.org.
Alrighty. And then one more thing. Do you guys, by chance, happen to know when it'll be legal for non-medical use?
Soon.
Well, that's just what we were talking about. When I talked about filing this petition. The Oregon Cannabis Tax Act petition will completely legalize adult use of marijuana. For anyone over the age of 21 will be able to possess, use, and grow marijuana. As long as we aren't selling it, there's no real limits on the quantity possessed. And so if you want to sell it, then you'd have to get a license. But if you didn't want to sell the flowers, or if you want to grow industrial hemp, or even just sell the seeds and the starts of cannabis, you wouldn't need a license under our new Cannabis Tax Act petition. And so we've just filed that and turned in about 1,800 signatures, and we need about 100 to 120,000 more good signatures. Right now we're waiting for a ballot title, and we filed 2 different versions of the petition, one that implements industrial hemp legalization and one that doesn't implement industrial hemp legalization. Once we get the ballot titles on those, we're going to poll, and the petitions will be hitting the street sometime between January and March of the next year, 2010. Now, assuming we make the ballot, and I'm pretty assured that we are going to make the ballot, we've hired a professional company to handle the petition campaign and fundraising, a company out there, Democracy Resources. It's out on the web at democracyresources.com. And they're the only unionized petition crew in the country. And they've worked hand in hand with the Secretary of State in implementing and developing new rules and financial regulations that take some of the back alley deals out of the petitioning process. And so, and they mandate that petitioners be paid by the hour rather than by the signature. And so we've hired this company, and we're waiting to get the 2 ballot titles to poll and see what the results of that poll are before we move forward. But if we make the ballot and win with either one of these versions, marijuana will be legal in 1 year and 26 days.
Oh, alrighty.
Yeah, and it'll be legal here in Oregon for anyone to possess, use, or grow their own marijuana. To find out more about it, you can go to our website. At the specific petition website is OCTA 2010. So OCTA2010.org. And we have a portal to all our different websites, and that is hemp.org. You can get to all of our different websites through hemp.org, like it says there on the screen.
Alrighty.
If you'd like to get involved more in it, you can call our number there. If you're outside of the Portland area, try the toll-free number at 1-800-723-0188. And if you're in the Portland area, call us on our local line at 503-235-4606.
Alrighty.
Thanks. Yeah, we're working hard to legalize it. We certainly need all the help we can get, because it's going to take everybody to pull together and try to overcome schisms and factionalism and move forward.
How many signatures will we need on the petition?
The actual raw number is about 82,000 valid registered voter signatures. Yep. A lot of times people will sign when they're not registered to vote, or they'll sign illegibly, or they've moved or something. And so we need to turn in at least 120,000 signatures to be sure we make it. And we're going to shoot for 135.
Yeah,
so we have a good
150% or more. Exactly.
And we're going to be pre-validating all of those. So all the paid petitioner signatures will first be validated before we turn them in.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good.
There's a lot of new rules and regulations, and even newer ones that are going to go into effect in January that require pretty frequent reporting. If you get a donation, you have to report it online within 3 days. And if you don't, then you're subject to a fine. You've also got to turn in, if you're paying petitioners, those paid petitioner signatures have to be turned in on a monthly basis. It had been you had to gather them all up and wait till the end of the campaign, but now there's a new requirement that they get turned in on a monthly basis for paid petitioners.
Good.
So
because I think that what you expect, you should inspect. And
there was some
that's a good thing.
Some hanky-panky around some of the conservative petition campaigns.
Right. Yes.
I don't want to name names, Bill Sizemore, but there were some that. You
mean the one who's running for governor, who's also indicted
running for governor again? Yeah, he's been indicted, and he's got injunctions against him. But hey, he's a Republican, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I don't want to sully all Republicans, but there are some out there that are good, but they're far and few between, if you ask me.
I gotcha.
Anyway, we're going to be starting our classes again to teach patients how to grow, and we've got a nifty new space to do it in, and we just started to take some contributions. In fact, just today, we got a contribution from Homegrown Garden Supply, so we got to thank them for contributing some some equipment, and oh, no problem. And so we'll be talking a little bit more about that later on. But our classes are coming back, and things are being designed, and we'll be breaking new ground here in the near future.
Right on.
We have another caller. Hello, caller. You're on our show. Hello.
Yeah, my name is Betty Ann
Hi,
Johnson.
Betty. Hello, Betty.
Yeah, and I was want to ask a question here.
Sure.
Now, I've been told, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've been told that I'm supposed to wait a year before I switch caregivers.
No, that's not true. You can change caregivers anytime you want. You're in control. And you can change caregivers whenever you want to change caregivers. Under all the various state medical marijuana regimes, you can change caregivers after a week or a day or however long you want.
Yeah, I've been on American marijuana since about June of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was told that a friend of mine was telling me that I was supposed to wait a year.
No,
because she was on it too, and she was telling me she was on it like about 2-3 years now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can change your caregiver at any time. You make the decision as the patient. You're in control, and I just recommend that you come to an agreement before you move forward with any new caregiver in terms of what you expect and what they expect. Mm-hmm. And it's best to put that in writing. Mm-hmm. And once you have that in writing, then you both have a real clear idea. But if they're not meeting your expectations and you don't feel you're being fairly treated, then it's probably time to find a new caregiver. It takes a while to grow a cannabis crop. It takes from seed to finish, very minimum 3.5 to 4 months, sometimes as much as 7 or 8. So,
well, I got at least 2 more questions here, but
go right ahead.
Well, how do I go about changing caregivers?
There is a form here in the state of Oregon that is available from the Oregon Health Department. It's called a change request form, and it's part of the official paperwork of the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program Office, which is part of the Oregon Department of Health. And so they have a form that's available online. You can print that. You can call them, and they'll mail you that form. We also have that form in our office, and we'll be happy to mail you the form, or you can come to our office and pick it up. The place where you turn in forms for the Oregon Medical Marijuana Program, and their head office is right here in Portland in the Oregon building at 800 Northeast Oregon Street over near the Lloyd Center Mall. On the 2nd floor, there's an office right toward the front of the building for applications and change forms and to pick up forms and answer questions. So that's in the Oregon building at 800 Northeast Oregon Street. It's got the frame of a dome on top, so they give you kind of like a Capitol dome.
Okay, well now, is there a way that I can have your office to send me those forms?
Sure. You can come down to our office and pick them up. We're at 105 Southeast 18th Avenue, just a block off of Burnside. Or if you want to give us a call, we can have those mailed to you. Call us at 503-281-5100. That's 503-281-5100. And we'll be happy to mail you those forms. Or if you want to come in and pick them up, you can do that as well.
Okay, well, you know what? My niece is sitting right here, and she wants to ask you a question. Will you talk to her?
Yeah, sure. That's what we're here for.
Okay, here she is.
Thanks.
I was just curious, how would I go about signing your petition?
It's not in circulation yet. We've just turned in sponsorship signatures at this point. So we'll begin the petition campaign as early as January, but depending on what happens in the ballot title and certification process, it may be as late as March. But if you want to get involved, I recommend going to our website at octa2010.org. That's octa2010.org. and then you can sign up on a volunteer form there, and we'll be contacting you via email as soon as those petitions are available for signing. Or you can just check here on the TV show.
Okay, well, what if I don't have email?
Well, then you can call us. I
just want to make sure.
Yeah, the phone number to call is 503-235-0120. No. That's the fax number. Excuse me. 503-235-4606. There it is. It's on the screen. 503-235-4606.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, you have a great night.
You too. Thanks for calling.
I'm sure that when the opportunity comes, we'll be making as many announcements as possible that it's time to sign it now. So,
you know, this show started out as a vehicle to promote the earlier versions of the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act back in the mid-'90s. And so here we are. We're finally coming to a point where we can actually hire a company to put it on the ballot instead of working round the clock.
And feel with some confidence that we might be successful and win this,
Exactly.
too.
The polling is actually starting to go our way after generations of repression. It looks like finally the people are waking up, and we may be seeing the end of cannabis prohibition. So
it's about time.
We're working hard to make that a reality. We have a film clip we're going to roll now. We'll be back in just a moment after the film clip to talk about it and talk about some of these items up here on the counter and take a few more phone calls. So stay tuned.
It's a crisp spring morning in Manhattan. A perfect day for a march down Broadway. But on this day, for this crowd, the Big Apple isn't exactly rolling out the red carpet. There are delays and confusion about where to gather. Mayor Rudy Giuliani waits until the very last minute to issue the necessary permit. But several thousand show up anyway, and eventually this ragtag army begins the long trek to Battery Park. The marchers have all come together this day for various reasons, but with one common voice: to protest the United States policies on marijuana. The marchers are cordially escorted by a phalanx of New York's finest. Or so it seems. Business as usual in America's war on drugs.
They're not going to get rid of us that easy.
For the last 30 years, a hardcore band of activists has been fighting the war on marijuana in what they see as a struggle for truth and justice. One man among them stands apart. He has been described as a cult folk hero, a boisterous rabble-rouser, a crazy man. His name is often mispronounced. He likes to say it rhymes with terror. But one thing is certain. Because of him, we enter the next millennium with a new knowledge of an ancient plant. A plant whose present-day revival was sparked by this man's 1985 best-selling book. The book revealed the lost history of the hemp plant, and in doing so, lit a fire under a legion of followers the world over. Its title is The Emperor Wears No Clothes. Its author is known as the father of today's burgeoning hemp movement. His name is Jack Herer.
Illusion.
At 60 years of age, Jack Herer has been stumping for hemp nearly half his life. It's been a long, strange, and decidedly uphill journey. But he trudges onward despite ill health, somehow turning on the passion when the curtain goes up.
They've outlawed the natural, and I say we've got to take it back by standing together, making it a million man march next year, make it 2 million, come to New York next year, Mayday!
There was a time, not too many years ago, that Jack Herer's ideas about hemp were deemed irrational, extreme, off the wall. But today, those harsh judgments seem like a distant memory.
Jack Herer's great genius was in introducing a broader vision of the economic value of the hemp plant.
I didn't know anything about hemp or the fact that there was a movement until Jack sat me down one night.
He is what you might call a force of nature. I've met several people in my lifetime who I would judge as having such fiery intensity within them that approve of them or disapprove of them, you have to acknowledge that they are forces of nature.
I saw Jack as a Michigan, a crazy man.
I kind of saw Jack that way too at first. You know, I always described Jack as bombastic because I thought that was the best single word to describe. I didn't know when I first met him, you know, he'd become the icon that he has. But, you know, he's been a force for years. I first met him in 1982. Yeah, back in, he was working with Captain Ed down in L.A., and I hooked up and met Captain Ed, and then I met Jack shortly thereafter. And I met him again when I moved to Portland. He'd moved up here to Portland from L.A. But, you know, tonight we have a benefit for Jack Herer. So if you're here in the Portland area and you're watching us on the Friday, the 4th of December, 2009, you can go right over to the Village Ballroom. Village Ballroom's just on Deacom, 700 Northeast Deacom Street. It's about 3 blocks east of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And so there's a small fee at the door, and it is a benefit for his family. He unfortunately suffered a massive heart attack on September 12th, just moments after speaking at our Portland Hemp Stock Festival. And so we're happy to be able to help his family out and help organize this benefit.
Yes,
so
sir.
If you are there, come on out and you get to see Mr. Tim Pate finish up the musical performance. And there's another band there, Past Marco. And so stay tuned
Come on
for
out.
that.
We'll have some fun, I promise.
We have another caller, though. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Uh-oh.
Say that one more time. It sounds like you might be on one of those phones over the internet or something, and you were kind of breaking up.
Uh-oh, not working.
No.
You'll have to call back. Call back on another line if you can. Yeah, that one didn't work.
Yeah, it was a little garbled. Sorry about that. If you have a question or comment for us tonight, call us at 503-288-4448.
We've gained some green since
That's true. There's a big hunking chunk of marijuana right here on the cabinet.
Chunk of marijuana.
That must weigh, I don't know, 4 ounces, 3 ounces, something in that neighborhood. And you know what? We have, that's pretty big buds. What kind of buds is this?
Those are lavender.
Lavender. Lavender. Well, it doesn't exactly smell like lavender, if you ask me.
Here's the tag.
4 times that size.
So it will grow a lot larger, we are told, and we'll, if you're interested in learning how to cultivate plants.
Not anymore. It's kind of been killed.
Cut. It's not going to be growing anymore. But,
potential is there.
If you are interested in learning how to cultivate medical cannabis and you hold a permit to legally grow medical cannabis, then we're going to be having some classes on just how to produce this kind of stuff. And right over here, I'd like to maybe get camera 1. We'll go through our little show and tell session here. Right down at the bottom, this big metal thing is our nifty donation from Homegrown
That's a ballast, isn't it?
Garden Supply, yep, that is a ballast. It's a switchable ballast. It'll go from 110 to 240. And we thank Homegrown Garden Supply for that.
And if you leave the hemp seed on, they'll probably end up getting cooked, won't they?
Yeah, if this was plugged in. Then right up above it, we have two different brands of shelled hemp seeds. Now, shelled hemp seed, this one's from Oregon, made right here in Oregon by Prairie Emerald, a company out of Bend. And this next one, I like the name of this one, Holy Hemp Seed Nut. It's from Park City, Utah, up there where they have the film festival with Robert Redford's group. So there's a couple of hemp food products that are very tasty. Let's go over here and now go through the line of bottled products. This one is, you can see maybe, if you have HD TV, it says Prairie Weed. There it is. There's the engraving or embossing. Oh, Prairie Weed. Prairie Weed. It still has the original contents in there. It's circa 1880. Here's another one from 1880 or 1890. This one is called Extract of Smart Weed. These people were way ahead of their time, I think. You know, they knew this Extract of Smart Weed. Nifty little bottle. Produced in Philadelphia, apparently. This one is probably one of the most colorful bottles, and I like to bring it on. It's Father D'Alice's cough medicine. Father D'Alice used this, it says, used it for years, and it's never known to fail. And I'll tell you the ingredients. That's the most amusing thing. This contains opium, heroin, Indian cannabis, alcohol, and chloroform.
You open it, I need a little.
No, I wouldn't open it. It's an antique. I wouldn't want to damage it. It's pretty valuable, actually, with its original contents and still sealed up and everything like that. So it's embossed on the back in Father D'Alice's cough medicine as well, and it has opium, heroin, Indian cannabis, alcohol, and chloroform. That will just knock you out. I can see that it's never been known to fail.
I can see why.
Yeah. Then we have a corn medicine. You know, there are a lot of different corn medicines. Even Johnson & Johnson made corn medicines. I have some of those. We'll have to get those back on the show.
They'll probably do it again here in another year
Raleigh's also produced, yeah, they probably will. Raleigh's also produced some veterinary medicines that had cannabis for colic and bloat. Speaking of probably do it again, here, this is from GW Pharmaceuticals, which is a major share of which is owned by Bayer, the aspirin company. And this is a new product that's available in England and Canada, and it's a hemp extract, a pure hemp extract. And there are three versions. This one is the one that has cannabidiol and THC. And so there's one that has just cannabidiol, one that has just THC, and this one is the mixture. And so it comes in a nifty little bottle. You spray that under your tongue, and most of it gets swallowed, but some of it's absorbed at that site. Then here, this is from a herbal extract company, and this is their Cannabis Indica bottle from Broderick and Tackle, I think it is. Then right next door we have from Eli Lilly another cannabis extract. You can hardly read the label on there, but it does say Cannabis Indica on there. And then this one is from Mulford & Company, tincture of cannabis. You can actually read that right in there. We have a box of Hemp Plus granola with omega-3. This stuff is really healthy, and it's very, very popular. It's you can pick it up at a very inexpensive price at most health food stores. Right on. Then we have our Volcano vaporizer here. This is used to extract cannabis without smoking. I started using a vaporizer more than 7 years ago, and I had a bad cough before I started using it. We recommend vaporization as a much safer and better way to use cannabis instead of smoking, even though smoking works if you don't have vaporizer. And of course we have this big bush here that's like several ounces of cannabis. Then you've got the hemp oil, the hemp milk.
I do.
That's the chocolate hemp milk, and that's made up in British Columbia. There's a chocolate and a vanilla.
Yeah.
And it's made up in British Columbia, but
excellent
distributed right here by a distributor out of Portland, Oregon, River City. So
right here in River
City. There's a bunch of different things, the old and the new. And the last one I have here, this is a plaster product. This is something, it came in a big swath, and it was aspirin and cannabis mixed together, and you'd apply it topically for things on your skin and below your skin. If you had some torn muscles or a broken bone or something. I've been putting cannabis oil on my knee, and I think it's helped heal it up a little bit more rapidly. But you can see salicylic acid, which is aspirin, and cannabis indica plaster right there. Isn't that nifty? So anyway, that's the end of our show and tell segment for tonight. And we'll take a call. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hi. How are you?
Good. Very well. How are you?
Not too bad. I have a question to ask you.
Okay.
I have a son and a daughter-in-law that smoke marijuana, but it seems like they smoke it all the time and they're fruity. Don't you think, or do you think, that some people use that as an excuse for medical marijuana, just to have it to smoke all the time?
I think some people do. I think that, most of the ones that have medical permits, they actually have a medical condition that it helps a lot. But I think if somebody has anything that might qualify and they want to smoke marijuana, then they obviously would go out of their way to get a permit. And so, what we try to teach people, and we've actually put this into the wording of our Oregon Cannabis Tax Act to legally regulate marijuana, is that, we want to teach children that if they choose to use cannabis, they have to fulfill their responsibilities to others. That includes the employees to an employer or vice versa. Or from a parent to a child, you have responsibilities. As a driver on a public road, you have responsibilities to everyone around you, whether it be pedestrian, bicyclist, or someone in a car. And that if you choose to use cannabis or another drug, you still have to fulfill those responsibilities. And if you use cannabis to the detriment of your ability to be able to fulfill those responsibilities, then you probably have a problem. And you need to think about how to resolve that. I have a
problem with my son as of last year because of them being so drugged out. They didn't know and they're asked from a hole in the ground. But you have chronic pain, and put that back up there on your screen. You have chronic pain.
Yeah, the different conditions that qualify for medical marijuana.
I have the top part. I have fibromyalgia, glaucoma, and I have chronic pain and
well, you would definitely qualify for medical marijuana if you wanted to try that. What we often tell people is for chronic pain, for glaucoma, and for a number of other conditions, it's actually better to take cannabis orally. And you can even take cannabis and not get the high from marijuana, but still get the medicinal relief from marijuana by taking something.
I'm 72 years old, and I've had it ever since I was 14 years old. And seeing my son and my daughter-in-law all spaced out, and the smell of it when they smoke it is terrible. Now they have a baby that's 4 years old.
It's not terrible to me.
Pardon me?
It may be terrible to you, but it's not terrible to many others.
It stays in the air for some time. That's one thing about it, is that it does hang in the. Anytime you smoke marijuana, it's going to hang in the air, and that's why we try to teach people about alternatives, such as this volcano vaporizer right here, that doesn't create nearly as bad an aroma or anything. It's an alternative to smoking. You don't even cough when you use the volcano vaporizer properly.
It sounds to me like you have some biases against it as well, because if you have that much pain and you've had glaucoma and all these other issues for such a long time, and you still refuse to use it to see if it would help, there are other issues here going on too. Between so I'm sorry, ma'am. I've got some questions about you too. I know you're 72 and you've got these problems, but if you're not willing to deal with those problems in a way that could help, I wouldn't complain about other people who are dealing with their problems.
I take eye drops,
and we wouldn't recommend going without those eye drops at all.
At all.
And so what we find is that people who use cannabis are able. You know how if you've had glaucoma for long, I'm sure you're taking a different medicine than the first one you first started with to treat your glaucoma. That an earlier medicine became less effective and you had to switch to a new one. Is that correct?
No, I've had.
So you're still on the same one?
I've been on the same medication since I was 28 years old.
Oh, really? So
yeah,
for glaucoma?
for glaucoma.
And those are eye drops?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that it's working so long for you.
I take them twice a day, and I've had surgery on my eyes and stuff.
I see.
But other than that, I mentioned that that vaporizer thing that you have there. That's new, isn't it?
Well, it's been out for about 10 or 15 years, but they're not.
For quite a while. It's the first I've seen it.
Yeah,
we don't bring.
Well,
it
this
out
is a
every
new
week.
one. You know, we had it on previous shows, but it's been a while. We've been showing it for a good 7 years now. Since I started using them, I've been advocating them, and they work very well.
You know, one thing too that I've noticed over the years is that it doesn't always affect everybody the same way.
That's right.
And so, quite frankly, it just doesn't. I don't know what else to say.
Well, the same's true with just about anything. It's different people have different profiles and different metabolisms, and so what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another. And so, for instance, you've been on the same medicine for over 40 years, according to what you say, but I know many people with glaucoma that have been through their medicines much more quickly than that.
Yeah,
people with really severe glaucoma over a period of 10 or 12 years, they'll go through 6 or 7 drugs, and then they run out. What they find is by using cannabis, those glaucoma drugs work longer and are more effective for a longer period of time, allowing them to keep their eyesight.
I've had it since I was 28 years old, and I'm 62 now, and I've been, I do 2 drops.
You just got 10 years younger.
2 drops a day, pardon me?
Well, I thank you for your calls and your comments, and you might ask your son, and if cannabis works for you to help control pain or any of your other conditions, glaucoma or the headaches associated with it, you might consider it as an alternative.
Really?
But thanks for your call.
What was it the other gentleman said?
Oh, I don't know. But thanks for your call.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
If you have a question or comment for us, we've got about 6 or 7 minutes to go here.
It's gone away.
Call us at,
right
it
along.
just flies by when you're having fun, huh? You can call us with maybe 1 or 2 more questions at 503-288-4448. That's 503-288-4448. And if you have any of those conditions that were up there on the screen a while ago, chronic pain being the most common condition for which people qualify for medical marijuana. Also, spastic conditions, things that cause chronic muscle spasms, everything from multiple sclerosis to Tourette's syndrome, and even asthma causes muscle spasms. Then that also qualifies. Things that cause seizures, like epilepsy, or chronic nausea, which covers a whole gamut of conditions, everything from GERD to IBS and Crohn's disease and other gastrointestinal ailments, or hepatitis C, which causes both pain and nausea, or cancer, glaucoma, any of those things. If you qualify for medical marijuana, but you are not sure where to go or how to get that, we have doctors who can help you all across the country, or we can tell you how to approach your own doctor if you're interested in asking your own doctor for a medical marijuana permit. Or if you don't want that to be in your permanent medical record, we have doctors who keep it completely private. So we'll be happy to refer you to those doctors. We have doctors all over the United States, from the East Coast to the West Coast and way out in the Hawaiian Isles. So just give us a call. Outside of the Portland area, that number is 1-800-723-0188. That's 1-800-723-0188. If you are in the Portland area, give us a call at 503-235-4606. That's 503-235-4606. And then I just want to also finally remind you to check out that Oregon Cannabis Tax Act petition. I am wholeheartedly working to end adult marijuana prohibition and help patients. You know, we got another caller. I'll try to squeeze in a quick question here. Hello, caller. You're on the show.
Hello.
Hi.
Oh, hi. When do you honestly believe medical marijuana will not be doing what it's doing now?
I'm not sure what you're asking.
When will marijuana be legalized in Oregon?
Well, I'm working hard to make it in 1 year and 26 days. So if we get enough signatures to put it on the ballot, and the people of the state vote on our petition next year, then it will be legal in 1 year and 26 days from the night we tape this, or, to put it more simply, January 1st, 2011. So that assumes that we pass our initiative. So check out our website. It's OCTA 2010. That's OCTA2010.org.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, and get involved. We need all the help we can get to make this happen. It's going to take us all coming out of the closet, so to speak, and letting our neighbors know that now's the time to legalize marijuana. No more legalize. Let's legalize. And I urge you to tune in next week. We'll be back, same bat time, same bat channel, and help us restore hemp. And here is Mr. Tim Payne. Batman.
I just had to do that.
All right. And here's Mr. Tim Payne. Thanks for watching. Good night.
See you next week, folks.